It's not that straightforward. There is a story behind this whole unboxing scenario, so I thought I might as well tell you guys what exactly happened before I managed to get my own R5. Well, the story starts pretty much as you would expect. You know, you get a phone call and then you sort of like rush over to the shop, and the first phone call was for a loaner unit. So I went over to Canon and get my loaner unit just to try the R5 for a good 3-4 days before my actual R5 will arrive, which at the time we didn't know the dates yet. So after using the loaner unit for 3 days, I had to go back and return the R5 and just keep on waiting and finding out when my next R5 or my R5 would come. So after 3 days of using it, I had to return the R5, but I was really smitten with this camera by that point. I just thought that this camera had everything I was looking for in a camera. It was not as bad as what the YouTubers made it sound. So yeah, I was definitely happy. I wasn't getting overheating, you know, issues because I wasn't shooting things on long stretches. So I was definitely happy with the R5. Yeah, and I even managed to shoot a pre-wedding shoot with the R5, and I was really impressed, especially with the eye autofocus. It was great. I really liked it. There were definitely some little quirks, but other than that, yeah, I was definitely pleased with it so far, especially photographically speaking. And again, I have to emphasize this, I am a photographer first, and I'm not a videographer. I only do videos mainly for my YouTube channel. So your demands may be a bit different than mine, but I was definitely happy with this camera. So fast forward a few weeks later, I finally got my unit of the R5, and I was really happy. Until that night, of course, I discovered that there was kind of a dodgy line that was cutting across in the EVF, and it was kind of greenish, but it was there intermittently, and it was always at the same spot. So I went back the very next day that I received my R5 and sent it back. So what Canon did, now this is where the punchline is. To me, despite the fact that I had a dodgy R5 to begin with, but the whole thing that really impressed me most of all, and why I really want to, you know, make a message in this video, is that I really think Canon did a brilliant job. The minute they found that I had something dodgy, they did a one-to-one part change. So they put the order in for my new R5. Of course, I couldn't get it immediately because R5s were actually in short supply. But what they did, now this is the part where I was so happy. They actually gave me an R5 to use for as long as I want until my replacement unit came. Now, that is just amazing. You know, it was on the spot. I got to use the R5, no questions asked. And you know, I really like to thank them. I really like to thank Canon Malaysia for actually doing this, and I think that is such a nice move and great, really great service. Thank you so much, Canon. So now that I've used the R5, I'm sure you must be wondering, what are my conclusions of using the R5 so far? Well, to me, using it so far, the eye autofocus is amazing, provided that you actually don't have too many subjects. It does track the eye very well, and it's nothing like using what I've been using before this, which is the EOS R. The EOS R does a great job, but this is definitely on its own league. So it's really brilliant. It latches onto the eye, and you don't have to worry about losing that focus, and that's the best part, because you can concentrate on doing your composition. And yeah, I think this is definitely the best Canon camera I've actually used so far. Yeah, and I look forward to more firmware updates from them. I'm sure they're going to improve things a lot more than what we currently have. So far, I haven't had any issues with the overheating at all. It's only when I tried purposely making it overheat that I got an overheat warning, and that wasn't you know, that was actually in the 4K 120 mode and the 8K or something like that, and it was definitely not a usual way I would shoot, because I don't usually shoot things on long stretches. So yeah, anyway, do wait for my proper review on this camera. This is purely the tip of the iceberg, and I'm not going to be giving out too much details right now because I've got quite a lot to go through with this camera. But all in all, I am definitely pleased with this camera. I also took the opportunity to buy a Smallrig cage for this camera, just in case I do want to sort of rig it up just a little, but more than anything else, I bought the rig simply to protect the camera. I just didn't want to be too careful with the camera. So by having this cage, it allowed me to put the camera anywhere, and the best part is it actually uses an Arca Swiss kind of a shape at the bottom plate, so I don't really need to put a tripod plate whenever I want to use it with my Arca Swift tripod. So it's really useful, and I love this whole setup right now. Of course, until the next cage coming out from Tilta, the one that has a fan, comes out, I'll be using this cage, I guess. So I guess that's pretty much it with this video. I'll just end you guys with some pictures that I actually took over the weekend. And yeah, I can tell you that so far, based on what my usage has been, it has been nothing but joyful using this camera. And I love this camera. It is just so well built. It has the right weight to it. It is really nice. I know I am sounding a bit like a Canon fanboy, but you see, like I said, I'm not really video centric. So based on what I have been using this camera for, and based on the short burst of video that I do, I haven't found any overheating problems at all. So I hope that does sort of like answer some of your overheating questions that you may have. But yeah, I've been enjoying this camera. So I'll just leave you guys with some pictures that I took over the weekend from a wedding. And yeah, enjoy the pictures, and I'll see you guys in the next video.